off. I don't like this destination.
I like a transfer to the express line. I gotta get off.
Electric slide into the devil doors of life. Things are changing and it ain't the way I like. On the replay, wish I could get a replay. Don't mean to hold ya, but I wanna do over. Gas up the ship, shoot me a text and let me know when it is time.
I wanna get off. I wanna get off.
1 star, would not recommend that we go far from here.
I wanna get off. I wanna get off.
Stop the world. A music podcast for the culture. Wild, wild thoughts.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Wild Thoughts. We got some of the homies in the house today. I'm excited. We got the great Rob Marslow is back in the building with us, y'all. I wish I had like an applause button.
You gotta add that.
Yeah, I need the applause button. Shit, man, we got a whole lot to talk about, a whole lot to get into, man. But before we get to America's series finale, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about some music. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about some music.
BET Awards.
Let's talk about the BET Awards. Let's start with that. That's great place to start. Hey, man, this was the first award show that felt like an award show, and I don't know how long. What up, Shannon? Can you hear me yet? Quincy, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mars?
Mm-hmm.
All right. For some reason, Quincy keep not been able to hear me. But did you get a chance to watch the BET Award, Mars?
The only highlights I saw was Kendrick's sweep.
You said it was yeah. Yeah. Listen, the BET Awards is cracking, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They did, and I don't know how many times I've said this on the show. And Quincy still can't hear us. Well, Quincy, what's crazy is so Mars can hear me, and everybody can hear me but you. Try. Let me see something. Let me see. Try a different browser.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
All right, cool. It's these headphones.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. All right, cool. There we go.
Turn the ass. All right.
So shout out to my homegirl Janae Ruzon Clay, who produced the BET Awards. I knew she had her hands in it when I saw it, because whenever she touches the awards, they be the dope ones. She's the ones who, when they had those dope, those dope. I'm tripping. I'm forgetting the word. Ciphers. When they had those dope ciphers and all that, that was her taking over the award shows. She actually produced the Oscars when Will slapped Chris, though. She produced that too. But so shout out to the black woman, Janae Ruzon, who, you know, been doing her thing with all the award shows. She the one who had, like, when they had those funny awards, the Funny Soul Train Awards with Gina and Pam. Yeah, that was her. She produced those. So what I will say is, they did a tribute to 106 in Park, and I don't know if you're there yet, V-Ray, but what up? They did a tribute to 106 in Park, and what they did was they had all the old hosts come out, and basically they were bringing out the artists as if they were like bringing out a new video. You know what I'm saying? And then they came out, so they did like Ashanti opened it up, and then Ashanti, then A. Marie, Jim Jones. They could have kept that trash ass shit, but Jim Jones, B2K, all four of them. I was surprised to see that. Bow Wow, and Mr. 106 in Park himself. So that was dope. That was done really good. The tribute to Snoop was really well, and the tribute to Snoop did his own tribute basically. Like Snoop did his own performance, but the tribute to Jamie Foxx was hard. It was dope. I mean, you open with Babyface doing Unpredictable, and then Ludacris coming out doing his verse, and then you go to Tank doing the
Ray
Ray Charles
Charles.
section, and then you have Jay Hudson. She comes out and she does "I Got a Woman" and churches it all the way out, and then they ended with "Blame It" with Teddy Riley on the talk box and T-Pain. That was like chef's kiss. Great tribute. You could tell that Jamie was really,
Very early 2000s tribute.
huh? You said
Very
what?
early 2000s tribute.
Yeah. And what's crazy is I've been saying this for the longest. I said it's crazy that our generation saves all these award shows. You go all the way back to when they had the New Edition reunion with the kids after the movie with the kids. It's like it's usually something that comes from our era that makes the award show really crack and really pop. It's not really the highlight for a long time. Hasn't been like a performer. Had like all everybody was talking about to that was the 106 Park tribute, the Jimmy Park tribute, Snoop tribute. They was talking about all the old stuff really. So that's y'all. What does that say for the new artists of today? They are the ones breaking through on award shows.
That they're trash.
Yeah, man. There's a disconnect between what's this Gen Z
Yeah,
and even shit. There's a disconnect between Gen Z and the millennials. I think we Generation X.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, it is even the fact that you got a lot of old timers are still selling out concerts. And we saw what happened. What was that? Where it was really bad? Was that about 2 years ago when
The
they
award
tried
show?
to? Yeah,
Yeah,
where it was really bad, and it just man, it was. It fell off so bad that they had to bring back like make it a black tie event
yeah.
and really, like you said, go back into our generation and pretty much let our generation like
You talking about that year, the last year when it was Baby was like the headline, right? Baby.
yeah
Yeah, the Baby.
it,
Yeah. That was
it,
like that.
it, it, it was like a Source Awards on steroids.
Yeah, yeah,
Shit
and not
was
in a good way.
bad.
Yeah,
And not in a good way. And it's just man, it's I don't know. Hell, because it's now you kind of consider Chris Brown a millennial, huh? Yeah, Chris Brown is
yeah,
a millennial.
yeah.
So I don't see. I think what our generation did, even what the millennials did, they took bits and pieces from previous generations.
Uh-huh.
Like you can look at a Beyonce, and I can say I see a little Donna Ross in there. I see a little Tina Turner in there. I even see a
A lot
little
of Tina Turner.
MJ. I even see some MJ in there. You could see Usher and Chris Brown. You could definitely see MJ and Bobby Brown. Like MJ and Bobby Brown and raised so many kids.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, for real.
you know, and it's like, even MJ, MJ took from Fred Astaire and James Brown and
The
Jackie
Wild
Wilson
Posse.
and
Yeah,
I think the common factor in what it is that you're saying is that there
yeah,
you also look at how they were brought up. They were brought up listening to 70s music. They had parents that actually, pushed listening to authentic music, songwriters, understanding instruments, bands. It's like, the generation afterwards or the current generation don't understand the fundamentals of music. It's like their definition of music is auto tunes.
and it's not. Let me tell you something. It's also having an ability. I'm not a like I told you. I went to a Fantasia concert years ago. I didn't know not one damn Fantasia song, but she knew how to entertain. Bow Wow, not really a Bow Wow fan, but the dude know how to entertain. At least they people who know how these. Have you ever watched the show of like these new performers? It's bad. I
yeah.
don't pay a ticket to see none of these people.
I think the lately I liked Victoria Monet's performances. She was dope. Tiana Taylor's always dope when she performed, but she not new. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But yeah, there's not a lot of new performers I see that I'm just like, oh, okay, they got it.
Oh,
I
oh,
like
oh, oh,
Dochi.
oh.
Dochi dope as hell. Dochi, Dochi and Kendrick, they dope as hell. Like from the new generation. Shit, Kendrick been around for 15 years now too, so that's not even.
Man, I look at Kendrick as a millennial.
Yeah, that's not even new. Yeah, yeah. Kendrick been a lot. Pandora, this is a great point from you. She said our generation had artist development. TikTok generation don't do shit but go viral. That's one of the best comments ever, and I'm gonna tell you why. These kids go viral, they become huge, they get into artist development, they just throw them out there. They're like, oh, you a star now, you a performer. And remember, usually when you get big on TikTok, it's like a 20 to 30-second clip. Now you
Well,
asking them to give like a whole show based off of
45 minutes, hour performance.
45 minutes based off the a 45-second clip, and they ain't had nobody to teach them how to stand on stage. They ain't had nobody to teach them how to work the stage. Nobody teach them how to do public speaking. Nobody, like, basically they just throwing them out there in the deep end without any development, and that's a huge difference, and that's why we are getting a lot of the performance, because you almost all the people you name, Quincy, like, Bobby Brown, Usher, like they all had like not only artist development, but some of the best artist development. You know what I mean? Like from the best schools of artist development, those guys you name, and that's why they were so dope and so polished like that. And I think the thing is, we're not getting a lot of very polished artists at this time. You know what I mean? We getting like a lot of rough around the edges, and we seeing them work through all the stuff you're supposed to work through in artist development. We're watching them work through it in real time on stage. Like we seeing the parts that we not supposed to see. We see him because usually like a label will be like, this artist is super dope. And I'm sure that Mars, you can attest to this. You've seen it before a million times. Like they are super dope. And then you go to a showcase and you like the music is crazy. They just not there yet. You know what I mean? Like they just not ready yet. And then they put them in artist development. And we went to artist development and it was great. Like we had to go sit and do interviews for 3 days with this dude. He was teaching us all the tricks people will try to do to trick you up into saying something wrong about another artist, like all the little stuff, little tricks of the trade that you don't think about, stopping you from saying, know what I'm saying, know what I mean. Yeah, I'm like working on that, like working on all of those specific things and teaching you how to like walk in public. This is how you walk the red carpet. Like this is how when you're on stage, this is how you command the stage. Let's teach you how to command the stage without moving around a bunch. If you can stand in the middle of stage and get the audience without even moving, that's big. Now that you learn how to do that, let's show you how to work the stage from side to side. Like work the, you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff is missing and they don't have it. And it shows. It shows in the performance, it shows in the interviews, it shows, and I think that's why you look in the podcast world. What are the biggest interviews? It's not the new artists like it used to be back in the day. Biggest interviews are us watching Sean Stockman talking to Martin Lawrence. Us talk, you know what I'm saying? Us watching all the older artists, Babyface and R&B. Money is so good because you get all those older artists who's getting on there and talking about, and they come from a different place. So you're not annoyed, because some interviews, I promise you, I'll be trying to sit through a new artist. I can't even sit through it. You know what I mean? I'm like, this shit, I can't sit through this. Yeah, thank you. PR training for sure. Like, and a lot of artists aren't getting that. I can't understand half what these kids are saying in interviews. McFly, and so McFly works in the industry and she interviews a whole bunch of people. Like she works the red carpets all the time. She said, you'd be surprised how many artists I've interviewed who don't know how to speak. Oh, I'm not surprised at all. And I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. When I used to go to radio stations, the biggest compliment we would get after we left, they was like, damn, y'all do good interviews. And I guess they say because it's far in between. And we were in the era with a bunch of, you know what I'm saying? Like we were in the era with a bunch of media training. So I know it's way worse now, but like they would, after the interview, they were like, man, y'all do such a great interview. It was so good. Like, because they sometimes feel like you're talking to somebody who doesn't really know how to speak. So you feel like you're pulling teeth, trying to get them to talk about their own project. You know what I mean? And that's what you get now. You see these artists, you trying to get them to talk about their stuff. And you like, what the hell are they talking about? Like, it just sounds like talking drugs.
Do you feel like a part of this is because of lack of groups? Because in our day, if you look at most of our big stars, a lot of them came from groups.
Yeah.
So it was able, they were able to mold them and kind of have them out there at the same time. But if you remember during the interviews, Beyonce wasn't the one that was talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was with New Edition. It was always Mike Bivens, the one
Mm-hmm.
that was talking. So it was because there were groups, people had it. You know, wasn't developing right in front of our eyes and doing bad interviews. It was like, okay, they wasn't pushed out there till they were ready. And I don't know, like hell, you know, this been my thing for a minute. I hate the fact that this generation of young black kids don't have no girl or boy groups.
Hey, you know what? I was thinking about that even watching the award show yesterday, watching B2K, because I was like, we don't have this.
No, like your daughter, my daughter, hell, my daughter, like she thinks fucking BTS is legit.
My daughter just went to K-pop concert Friday.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? McFly said exactly. I'm begging you to talk about you. Pandora said, honestly, I think these Negroes have no foundation in the church. Well, you already know. I already told you about my the Kirk Franklin paradox is why we have a lot of these artists like we do, which even goes to like Glorilla winning the Bobby Jones Award, which I thought was some of the craziest shit ever. I
yeah, that
thought
was
that was some crazy work right there. Uh, I thought that was some of the craziest work, but I don't know, man. Like watching it again, because I remember when people were saying that. What's the young lady's name? Lizzo. Remember people starting to say Lizzo the next Missy Elliott. Remember that? Like
Mhm.
that little minute. And then they had that award show where Lizzo performed and they fucked up and did the Missy Elliott tribute right behind it, where Missy came out. And I was like, nope, it ain't even close. You know what I'm saying? Because when you
Yeah.
see them side by side, and they stopped saying that after that. But I was like, it's not even. But again, that goes to when I say you have to go back. When you think of the award shows that give you those moments, it's always going back to something older. You know, even that time when they had the award show and then Mary J did her thing. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you don't know the Kirk Franklin paradox? Well, I did a whole video about this, but I'm gonna do it real quick for y'all. All right. So since the beginning of gospel informed secular music, right? Gospel gave you the blues. All the early blues came from
Mhm.
gospel. Then you get to the 70s, you know what I'm saying? You get Clark Sisters and all that. Clark Sisters gives you SWV. Clark Sisters gives you all these girl groups. Escape. That's why all of them had like a Clark Sisters cover on their album. Faith Evans sounds just like Karen Clark. Like there is a secular version of every gospel artist, like almost like like Jodeci was commissioned.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So every gospel artist gave the inspiration. Either they were gospel artists that just turned into secular artists, like they grew up on gospel or grew up in the church, like Casey and JoJo. You know what I'm saying?
Boys to Men was Take Six.
Yeah, Boys and Men was Take Six. So there's like a secular counterpart, right, for everyone. Pandora that always took their cue from gospel music. Well, like Back to the Future, Kirk Franklin reversed polarities on the shit. You know what I'm saying? So he started taking his cues from hip hop. So then gospel start taking their cues from hip hop instead of the other way around. So gospel no longer was the force pushing the culture forward musically. Now it became hip hop feeding back into itself. And I don't think we ever recovered. Gospel
Nope.
wise, R&B wise, I don't think we ever recovered because you stop getting artists from the church, you stop getting that soulful feeling in music, all of that. So to me, that's the Kirk Franklin paradox. I think he threw off the way music was fed into the world based on like gospel being the foundation, feeding everything else. That's the Kirk Franklin paradox, real quick. So, that's my theory. I feel like I want to write a book about that. Like I really want to deep dive into that.
No, that's it makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, because you think about when it changed like that, right? Like when gospel
Yeah,
music
it was
changed.
Kurt Frank, because even like guys like John P. Key
Yeah,
and Hezekiah Walker, and they started to move towards having a secular sound versus letting R&B pull for them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that changed everything else. So then now he's like, where we get our fountain from, like our
Yeah, and
fountain.
if I hear another R&B
You said if you hear another what, V-Ray?
Just changing a few of the words. That really feeds into that because it's like they'll take the nastiest, ratchetest song and then put some gospel lyrics on it and be like, "Ain't that nice?"
Man, a dude, you remember? I mean, we laughed at it. You remember
No.
the dude did Bump and Grind remix
In church?
on the
Yep.
Christian Network. No, that was on the Christian Network.
Yeah. You right, V-Ray. Like all of that, all of that goes into it. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like we really, like I said, we flipped in. It folded into itself, right? Like our inspiration folded into itself, and I don't think we quite ever recovered. Because then it started going further and further. Because I love Mary. Then you got Mary. Her right, they records sound like DJ Quick records. You know what I'm saying? Then they start sound like trap records. Because Shackles ain't nothing but a Quick record. Listen to Shackles. That's DJ Quick crack.
Well, that was whatchamacallit?
Warren Campbell, and he came from
Warren
Quick
Campbell, and he worked for Death Row.
But he worked for Quick too. A lot of them Quick records that was Warren on the bass. Yeah. So that's what it is. So I know somebody asked about the AI music earlier, AI and Timberland. So Timberland had a big, long, I think it was like a 4-hour discussion about AI and its effect on music and what can you do going forward to try to stay relevant as a producer, because now these people, that's exactly what it was. They just changed the music. She said Shackles remind me, if it don't make dollars, don't make sense. Same drum track. Shackles was dollars, the gospel dollars and cents. That's a damn that's a good ear right there, Pandora. That is a good ear. And I tell y'all again, while we talking about music, hey man, go back and listen to that DJ Quick album, Rhythmalism, and go back and listen to Safe and Sound.
Favorite Quick album.
Listen to Safe and Sound and Rhythmalism. Let me tell y'all, DJ Quick was ahead of his time, and those are two sonically perfect albums. I just listened to them again last week, and I was like, damn, Quick. These albums are killer. Like, I'm talking about sonically. I don't know if y'all know, Dr. Dre said he heard Rhythmalism and went back and remixed the Chronic 2001. That's why the Chronic sound like that. And he had Quick come in and mix some of the records too, because he was just like, after I heard Rhythmalism, he was like, I got to go back to the drawing board. But so speaking of AI, like I said, they were talking about all the different ways that it's going to be affecting us, and it's interesting because up until this point, I hadn't heard. Quick is a beast. I hadn't heard the AI music. We heard it used as jokes. We heard, what's the guy named Quincy Willonas, who does all the funny AI songs. So we heard that, and Safe and Sound is one of the funkiest ever, Terrell, ever by far. So we heard people using them to make the fake songs, but I had never heard it used in a commercial manner until Lil Wayne's album. His first song was like one of them AI songs where they made it sound like a choir. And I said, oh, this is interesting because it's the first time I heard it used like for a real record. And I could really tell the difference. I could really tell that it was AI. It didn't feel soulful at all. And especially what he was using for the sample and what it was supposed to be. It didn't quite catch, and it feels a little soulless from somebody who's a musician and somebody who listens to music all the time. I was like, there's something about AI that doesn't capture the real soul, especially like the way, if y'all get a chance, listen to Lil Wayne's first 2 records where he used AI, and you could hear what I'm talking about. Like it feels off. It doesn't, while I'm listening, because when you listen to music, there's a connection to it. You know what I mean? And you feel a certain thing. So while I was listening to the first 2 records, it felt wrong. If that's the best way I can kind of articulate it. It just like, I was like, ugh. You know what I mean? I was like, what's that? But also, Wayne, what are you doing? What are you doing, Wayne?
Chasing a check.
This was the album that you came back with after they pissed you off for not giving you the Super Bowl? I thought you was going to come back for fire, like with the motivation. And listening to this album, and I listened to the album 3 times, right? Like I listened to the album 3 times, and
that's what I expected too.
You know what I'm saying? I thought he was really gonna come with the fire. I was like expecting a million Lil Wayne, 6 foot, 7 foot. I was expecting that Wayne, but I don't know if the drugs and dreads then took over his brain, man. And that's all we gonna get. Like he had a record called Cotton Candy where I was like, you could tell they was like, we need a radio record. You know what I'm saying? We need a lollipop. And I was like, oh, and then there's like, I don't know. And I'm all for genre bending. I'm all for being, you know, that Pandora. Let me tell you that's funny that you said that. Hey, Stephanie, it's funny that you said that. So you said 5 out of 19. What did I say, V-Ray?
Said 4 out of 19,
I
right?
said 4 out of 19. So I said this is the way I'm gonna start to rate albums, Pandora. I'm gonna rate albums like basketball. 4 out of 19. He shot 4 for 19. So he shot about at a 20%, 21% clip on his album. So he had a bad shooting night. That's how I look at it. he was 5, even 5 for 19 is a little better, but 5 for 19 is what, 30% from the field. And I'll say some of those way out songs where he tried to go rock was 3-pointers that missed. I never was a fan.
What about lyrically? Because I haven't heard it yet, but he used to have some cool verses.
So I'm gonna get
even
to
if
that.
I didn't agree with the track. So
yeah. So
lyrically, he wasn't up to par either.
So all right, let me read this comment and I'm gonna get to that. I never was a fan, and to me, he never was that lyrical. He had just really great metaphors and punchlines. Terrell said, I listened to half the album and couldn't do it anymore. And then Pandora said, but he also stopped writing. And Stephanie said, did it seem like a desperation album? So this is what I'll say. This is one of those albums where I feel like where's his team? Where's the squad that had him on top, right? Like when you be like, whoever used to have him popping, they not around. Lyrically, V-Ray, there were some songs where I feel like you got glimpses of the old Wayne, and then he got lazy. It's almost like he couldn't sustain it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when you listening to the album and all your features are killing you, like every time it's a feature, they are killing you on your own song. That's bad because Big Sean killed him. The dude just did the hook. What's his name? The dude did the hook, and the hook is super fire. And Wayne, I felt like Wayne couldn't sustain what the people even around him was giving him. I do, and like like Pandora said, 5 out of 19. The songs that are good are really good. That's the one. Big Extra to Plug. That's the one. That's the one. Hey, that record, he did the hook, and he killed Wayne with just like doing the hook. You know what I'm saying? The Jelly Roll record, that's another one of the records I like. That's why I say it was 4 for 19. So the Jelly Roll record, it was the Big Extra Plug record. It was like 2 other records on there that I'm like, oh, these are dope. But the rest of it, it just feel like he's like it really feel like we listening to demos and he trying to figure it out. Like, you know what I'm saying? I felt like I was listening to the like, hey, let's figure out what to put on the album. It's on the album too, if that makes sense. Pandora said every feature out rapped him. Yeah, like I'm talking about every feature. I was like, they killing him on his own record because Big Sean killed him on that record that they're on together. You know what I'm saying? And the record with Big Extra Plug, like, hey, his what he did on that record made the record stand out. I'm like, oh, this record about to be crazy. And then Wayne started, you know what it is, B-Ray? I feel like Wayne got a little lazy because even some of the metaphors he was using was stuff that he had used already. Like he literally used the wine and dine verse, like the wine and dine line again. I call that wine and dine. Like I was like, bro, you did that shit. Like
he probably forgot he's on them drugs, bro.
yeah.
This shit is like, fresh and
this
new,
gonna be
nigga.
killer. Yeah.
I don't remember anything before 2018.
Pandora said a lot of his stuff sounded dated to me, also very surface level. Yeah, you know what, Pandora? I agree. It felt like some stuff was like, I think he couldn't figure out where he lays in the landscape right now, right? Like, I think he can't figure out, like, do I want to be like the new kids and try to rap like the new kids? Do I want to be like old Wayne? Do I want to be on the new kind of beats? Or do I want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, you couldn't, I feel like he just didn't really find himself, didn't find it, and probably didn't have that person that just was like, I think you can do this better. You know what I mean? She said he was giving us EBT Coke bars. Jesus Christ. He said great value brand bars. Yeah, like some of it, I was just like, some of the bars was like, it sounded like somebody imitating Lil Wayne, like, hey, Lil Wayne would say something like this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's what it felt like. Like, if you know how we be joking and we be saying shit, it felt like that. Like, it felt like somebody was doing an imitation of Wayne, but sadly, it was actually Wayne. So it was like he's doing a bad imitation of himself, man.
Right.
Like I said, I expected to be better. I never was a super big, huge Wayne fan, but I did respect his talent and respect what he could do. You know what I mean? And of course, there's records that are embedded in the culture that I like from him. You know, because Wayne had that run with Cash Money and the Hot Boys, or all the way up to the stuff he did with Young Money. He has some records. Like, Wayne has had some records. Pandora said people want to hear his story. You know what? That's true. And Pandora, I feel like he didn't really get deep at all. Like, I feel like he didn't. You know, I think maybe he did one song that felt personal, but even that record, I felt like it just felt like an imitation. It didn't feel like, not like I said from the beginning, nothing connected. From the beginning with that, the AI record. After that, it felt kind of weird to me. But like I said, I listened to it 3 times just to make sure I wasn't tripping. He has so much to talk about. I would love to hear him talk about and what he's been going through lately. Yeah. Maybe he's not ready yet, you know what I'm saying? But hopefully he will be, you know, soon. So yeah, that's our music section. That's our music section of Wild Thoughts this time. But yeah, so I know everybody's itching to get to hold on. Shannon said, you can't make a commercial saying you were going to miss the Super Bowl because you were going to be in the studio and then give us this. Right. You built the anticipation. Carter 3 was his best album. After that, I'm not feeling it. That's from Hayne. James. What up, Cole? Cofield said, I got to listen to the whole joint. Yeah, listen to it. Let me know what you think, Cole. I'm interested to hear your thoughts because, you know, I always respect your thoughts on what you feel about records. Hey, man, you know what's crazy, too? Going back to the BET Awards, that crowd went insane when Corrupt came out to do Ain't No Fun.
Mm-hmm. Because everybody know that part.
Yeah.
They proved that at the show this weekend.
Yeah, we did it Saturday night. Shout out to TG3 and Sean Swoops. And we ended, because, you know, usually we'll end the show with the Bud or like the time, but we like, let's end with Ain't No Fun. Bro, we ended with Ain't No Fun and just let the crowd sing that joint. And when I say we was breaking the music so you could hear them, they was singing that shit so loud. I said, it's crazy because it's like one of the dirtiest songs ever, but I always hear women like singing it the loudest and the hardest. That'd be my favorite part.
It's shady as fuck.
Yeah.
And one day we gotta do a show based on like the actual story of the song.
Yeah.
That we've been out there. Like, women love As We Lay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so y'all okay being a side chick when it comes to this song.
Yeah. She said that's my favorite part. Yeah, and then Warren G came out. It was good to have Warren G because I know Warren been feeling left
It was
out.
good to see Warren G.
You know, Warren did a couple interviews like that. I just want y'all niggas to say what's up, because basically, and Warren is like, I'm the one who put Snoop on, and he getting all these accolades, and y'all can't even let me get on stage at the Super Bowl. Y'all can't even. He said I didn't even want to get on stage. I just wanted to get backstage. Y'all wouldn't let me get backstage. So I guess Snoop heard him and put him on the show. So I was happy to see that because, you know, we work with Warren. Warren's a really good dude, man. He's a really good dude, really sweet spirit. So Shannon said we love He's Mine by Moke and Steph too.
be liking the most shadiest ass song, singing them loud as hell.
Yeah.
Dancing.
Yeah, no. But you know what? The way they put together Snoop show, great. The way they did it, I really appreciated the musical director. I didn't get to see who was the band yet. I'm gonna go check it. But she said I have a video of me and my line sisters rapping Corrupt Part. Oh no, women love to rap Corrupt Part. Like after we do the Nate Dogg and we do What Love Corrupt gave up, I don't gotta say nothing else.
Yeah.
I don't gotta say nothing else. And then the girls, they be going, like they come up to the stage, they was up at the stage going hard. But like I said, watching the BET Awards, 2 things that made me feel good was when Corrupt came out and Warren did their thing and everybody went crazy, and just the whole Snoop part of it. But also the women who were little girls when B2K was out are grown women, and you seen them in the audience turn to little girls again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
That's why I
I
can't
thought that
all
was
four of
dope.
them back together.
And that's why I said, come on. I was looking, I said, is all four of them? I was like, I thought they had like a Omarion replacement because Omarion, like, I ain't never sing with these niggas again. So
Man, hey, that's why I'm telling you, the shit that's gonna break records if Beyonce and with Michelle and the original members ever do a tour.
oh yeah. Yeah.
That's gonna be crazy.
Pandora said, well, SZA the queen of toxicity, and we love her. But yeah,
Oh,
like seeing B2K and watching the girls in the audience, man, like really like watching those women turn like melt into little girls again. I was like, that was dope to see, man. That was
yeah,
really, really dope. And B2K kicked ass, man. They had their little section. They
yeah.
killed
But
that shit.
the crazy thing is they won't do the dope version of Bump Bump Bump. And the thing is, R. Kelly and P. Diddy on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
I was like,
They can't never pull that shit out the vault.
Yeah. On the track, great boy.
I mean, because the remix version is where really gets the party cracking.
Yeah, that remix goes hard. They performed that remix too on the BET
Yeah,
Awards. I don't know if you remember the one where they were on like the Matrix wall. That was the
yeah,
remix they did. Yep. Shannon
and it
said,
was
I love that most
popping.
of the performers' mics were live. I did too. I love that they was actually singing on. Shout out to Audrey Day. I know she had to do the In Memoriam, but she did Roberta Flack Killing Me Softly. And that's not an easy tune to pull off, especially in that moment. I think she did a really, really good job with that joint. Like I said, I like that they made them dress up again this year because I feel like it added like an air of class to it and made it look a little better. And because Kevin Hart even said something about it. He's like, what the fuck is going on? Y'all know how to put no clothes on.
Well, you know what, man? If this gonna be our Oscars, we gotta treat it like it's our Oscars.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why. I mean, the Source Awards do what you're gonna do, but if this
Yeah.
is gonna be our Oscars, we got to show the same class and elegance that we would show if we was getting the Oscar nomination.
And respect to the
Yeah.
award. And what I thought was dope was that the big stars showed up because what happened in the last few years, none of the big stars were showing
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
There's
They
a bunch
didn't
of
want no parts of
randos.
that.
Yeah, so Snoop showing up was big, Mariah, Jamie, you know what I mean? And then you looked in the audience, there's a bunch of the other big stars was actually there in the audience. Even T.I. coming to do the 106 in Park piece. You know what I'm saying? Like that was all big. Yeah, well, it was very nostalgic, Pandora, and I think that's what made it work because I think they did a good job of bridging the gap, like reaching back to the original kids who watched BET and watched 106 in Park, and then trying to bring the new kids up to speed. Like, hey, yo, this is what it was. This is what y'all was missing out on. This is the foundation of everything that y'all seeing on the stage today. Because the funny thing was, a lot of the performers was performing with, like the people that they basically redid their song. Like somebody redid Lil Kim song, so they would, so a lot of performers had redid artists from our era songs, and they just put new words on them.
Yeah,
So
yeah, because 2 years ago it would have been Keke Palmer and Justin from American Idol doing Jamie Foxx tribute.
yeah, yeah.
What is this?
So and I don't know if y'all saw Keke Palmer and Eddie Murphy got a movie coming out.
Yeah,
Look like it's gonna be pretty good. Keke Palmer, Eddie Murphy, and Pete Davidson. It's a heist film. I think it's gonna be pretty good. I think Eddie's at that age where he like, I'm finna cash these easy checks.
mm-hmm.
I'm finna get here and do these easy, get these easy checks while I'm in my granddaddy era. You know what I'm saying? Stephanie said, and it's so crazy that they were paying homage to all the nostalgia BET, and then we lose Ananda. Yeah, that is crazy.
Oh
We
my
lost Ananda
God,
Lewis
man.
today. That broke my heart, dog.
It did.
That was a lot of our first crushes. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Ananda and Miss Rachel from Caribbean
She
Rhythms.
wasn't my first crush because Elvira was my first crush. But nigga had issues at 7 in love with a vampire. But
That explains a lot.
yeah, but she definitely, I mean, she was in that hot 90s girl era where the Neil Longs, the not, her is just it's just sad.
Yeah.
I was watching the clip. I never understood why she took the route she took with breast cancer, but it's her choice, her life.
Well, she said too. She said she feel like she She said she watched her mama do mammograms all the years, and her mama ended up getting it anyway. So she was always like gun shy to go get tested and all that, right? And then she said when she finally did, and she found out she had it, she said she didn't get the mastectomy. She said because she was like, I was raising a kid at the time. It was during COVID. I was the only one who could raise him, so I couldn't get a surgery like that and still have to do all the stuff that I had to do. So yeah, okay, I heard you. So yeah, it was really sad. It was really sad to hear that news today. Right after that, Monday we had that great BET Awards, and it was, and also too, going back to that, somebody said earlier, I wish they would have bought out Donnie Simpson. That would have been dope. And
Oh yeah.
I know Roxy couldn't make it, but they said it wasn't because of no beef or nothing. Because Terrence came out, they said Roxy had to leave. I think she's filming a movie or something. Because they said she was around for the rest of BET weekend, like doing all the panels with all the hosts. Free looks amazing. Still, you know what I mean. So shout out to Free.
Free was a lot of guys' crushes too.
Yeah. Sad because breast cancer treatable. Yeah, Pandora. Yeah, it's really sad all around, man. So, but yeah, shout out to everybody in the BT Awards. Like I said, Kendrick coming out was big. You know what I'm saying? Kendrick coming to so when you have those kind of artists that come to the awards and accept the awards, it makes it like, okay, this is a real thing. Because that's what we were missing for some years. The big artists just like, I'm not going to the BET Awards, and I didn't blame them. I didn't blame them at all.
On the side note, I was thinking watching the BET Awards. I couldn't help but think, how does Drake ease himself back into
Well, I saw an
what
interview today where they were talking about how and a lot of people don't know this, but how they were talking about Party Up, Y'all Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind Up in Here, was actually a response to Corrupt's calling out names. It was an answer back to Corrupt on calling out names. Yeah, go listen. When he said your girl's a hoe, he's talking about Foxy Brown. Yeah, you did. Mars is here, Steph. Kendrick in Toronto tomorrow and Friday. Oh shit. But somebody said I was Exhibit who was in an interview. Exhibit said, you know what? That's what Drake should have did. And then somebody said, well, Kendrick beat him to it by doing Not Like Us, because Not Like Us is now that like a party record. That's the diss record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like to the point where people don't even think of Party Up as a diss record no more. It's just a big, huge party record now. But I don't know how Drake eases back into the culture, because that's the problem, right? Q. It ain't just It's his place in the culture is like, I think, and I could be wrong, I think his place in the culture is kind of tainted. And even if he come around, I think you're gonna have a bunch of different artists still looking at him with the stank eye. Like, I don't know, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think if he had just left it alone and just waited and then dropped the album like now, he would have been fine. But falling up with the lawsuit, doing all that shit, just really it's gonna make it very awkward for him to come back to be in that atmosphere that we saw.
Yeah.
The other day without getting clowned, because you're gonna be hypersensitive.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be able to enter
He'll
that
be live
atmosphere.
via satellite forever.
Via satellite, all his performances will be from another show.
Yep, it
He's gonna
ain't
be
safe.
safe.
Yeah, I think so too, V-Ray, like you said, because he get to play on his home field. If you're like, oh, he gonna perform via satellite from his live show in Toronto. Haynes said a story of Adi down walk, so Not Like Us to run in push. Pandora said he didn't leave it alone because Drake is a narcissist. He thought UMG was going to suppress Not Like Us like they did Clips and Pusha T's records. Drake trying to become a streamer. Oh, that's his pivot? All right, go ahead, Drake and Meek Mill. Yeah, and it's funny because, like I said, when he came out with, oh, they suppressing or da-da-da-da, I said, oh, the only reason he's saying that because you know that they must have did that for you. Like you told on yourself. You know what I'm saying? You told on yourself. When you was like, oh, they letting my record play, but they letting Kendrick record play. I'm like, oh, the reason you feel like that's a real thing because you must have had that happen for you. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, man.
Wait,
I was like, damn, did he really just just take this dude completely out the culture. Like Drake gonna have to do all MTV award. Well, I don't know because they play Not Like Us too. White folks love Not Like
yeah.
Us.
Yeah, man.
It's all a Kendrick's catalog. Even Peekaboo is the sound bed for the Gatorade commercial now.
Yeah. Yeah, like you can't get away from it. You can't get away from him. And I think, earlier, I think it was Shannon who said earlier that she said she feel like the culture shifting. But I also think not only did Kendrick kind of usher in that shift, he's kind of like now he's the like poster boy for it, right?
Mhm.
Because now anytime you want to diss anybody, you'll use the music bed for Not Like Us. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't even specific to Drake no more. It's like when you just trying to like
Man,
white folks love Kendrick.
the
Shannon.
criteria has changed. Not only do you have to diss the person, but the person has to actually file 2 lawsuits. They got to copy your video, and the fact of the matter that Kendrick still got that movie coming out with the writers from South Park.
Yeah, and I heard they just announced that Kiki Palmer and SZA they're gonna do a sequel to
Thank
their
God.
movie. One of them days they're getting a sequel. I thought it was cool. I thought it was like a cool little female Friday. You know what I'm saying? Like the female version of Friday. It was a cute little movie. I liked it. So I'm
Do
glad they're getting it.
Do you think this forces Cube to fast track the final Friday?
But talking about the fact that they gonna do theirs. No, I don't think it, but I think he needs to fast track it just because you like lost so many people from it. What's that sound? Hold on. That was weird.
Is it me?
I don't know. It's gone now.
Yeah, I
Not
don't
only
hear.
do white people not like
Can you
like
guys
like
hear
us,
me?
yeah, you back, you good.
I can't hear a
Steph-
thing.
oh, I can hear you. Can you hear Rob? Rob,
Yo,
say something. Ask him if he can hear you.
can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear
Can
you.
Okay.
Mark, I can hear you. I can't hear a thing.
That's crazy. How could he hear you and not me? His phone don't like me today. Not only do white people not like us, but they talking just as much of shit about Drake as we are. Yeah. Shannon said, I think Kendrick is going to run this for the next 2 to 3 years, at least to the Olympics. God, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, they already.
Kendrick literally said, I'm what the coach is feeling in Euphoria, aging like fine wine. All right. I know we've been talking about music for almost an hour now, so we gotta get to the bullshit.
Yo, are y'all safe out there?
Bro, this shit ain't nothing like they acting like it is on the news.
Run that
Crazy.
disclaimer right quick, bro.
Okay.
It's crazy. Okay, let me tell you how bad it is, Mars. The BET Awards was 1.5 miles away from it.
Okay.
Didn't stop shit. Like it supposed to be Brian, supposed to be right. The black people was literally at the BET Awards, hitting red carpet, singing, dancing, 1.5 miles away where all this shit is supposed to be happening.
Mm, okay.
Like literally, it's like about 8 blocks of downtown LA, down there by City Hall.
Yeah, that was part of like I was like looking at like all this shit is happening in downtown. Like if it was like Venice, it was like around Westwood.
Man,
Like,
and it's not even all of downtown. It's really
mhm,
about 6 to 8 city blocks where they at.
mhm. Okay.
And that bastard in the White House got people thinking that LA is on fire. Yeah, people going by their business.
Well, it's not just him. It's just also the news coverage. Because I'm sitting there
Yeah.
looking at shit, and I was like, "Wait, what the fuck?"
Now, I mean, Border Patrol is jumping out on people,
Mhm,
in different cities, which is crazy. But as
right.
far as the protests and the riot, and tell you the truth, the burning and looting, all that didn't start until Trump sent in the National Guard because it was just
Mhm,
peaceful protesting up until that point.
right. $132 million.
For bullshit. For bullshit. Haynes said, I was downtown on Saturday. Business as usual. Trump is
Yeah,
manufacturing this BS.
yeah.
I thought it was the LA riots all over. My family in Alabama was checking in on me. Nah. And this shows you how media can whip up a frenzy, bro.
Yeah.
They take the few videos of people acting up and make it look like, and Trump saying like, "Oh, LA is burning." They wasn't doing nothing about it.
Mhm.
When the National Guard came and the Marines, they the ones that started exacerbating. You know, they like to escalate shit. They was escalating, and there's videos of people literally like, "I'm here in LA right now. This is what it is." You know what I'm saying? Like, Stephanie said the main part they're leaving out when they're showing these so-called riots is that none of this happened until the National Guard show up. Also, people forget that the government implants people into these protest groups to start trouble. Yes, there was a like one spot in a strip mall in Compton, one store got
That
set
one
on fire,
story, yeah.
and they was like, so people in the comments from Compton was like, the police did that, like that wasn't us, like that wasn't the people down there protesting. Like, and we already know there's always like outside agitators acting like they're protesters and stuff. Like, and that's not to say like, because they really was throwing rocks at them cars on the freeway. They was breaking them up, but it's not like what they trying to say on TV.
Well,
You know what
well,
I'm saying?
well, well, you remember that time when we was talking to Villanueva and he was talking about when it was going down right there on Imperial and Western, and he told us that most of the people that he arrested was from Arizona.
Yeah,
They they was from Arizona. They was from like
New
different
Mexico.
places in New Mexico, but they was not from Imperial and Western.
Yep.
Okay.
He said the majority of the arrests down there was like folks from out of state.
And when you're from out of state, you don't happen to find Imperial and Western on
Yeah.
your outing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So this protest has caused a divide, but also weirdly a togetherness in the community. Like there have been some black folks, out there helping out Latino brother sister, but then there's been some black folks who be like, "This ain't none of my business." Which side do y'all sit on? On the let's help them out, or it ain't none of my business? Where do y'all sit on that?
Well, I think the
Mars, you
civil
can go first.
rights part of it outweighs, who voted for who at this point, because what's happening is going to be across the table for every minority soon. It's starting where it's starting, but they already made it a deal with Sudan. You know what I'm saying? So guess who's next?
And that's what I said. I said the fact that they trying to get somewhere where they can send black folks, that's not an accident. You know what I mean? And Quincy said this when he first started messing with civil rights. He said, "Yo, y'all could think they only gonna mess with the Latinos, and then you know what I'm saying, but who you think they coming after next? Who rights you think they coming after next? The Latinos are just a testing ground for him to see how far he can go.
Right.
A test run, see how far he can go and how far he could bend the Constitution, man." Stephanie said, yeah, same thing. This is just a test run for what's to come. Texas is already talking about they are going to deploy the National Guard there for their protesters. We about to see more of this across the board. And what's
They
crazy?
did. Oh boy, did it today.
Yep. And what's crazy? This was all in the Project 2025 playbook. It was in there. I'm on the let's sit down because once we get in it, it would definitely escalate. I understand that side of it too. And so that's what I think as far as the protest. I feel like the black people, if the black people get on protest, they're gonna be the first one they shoot with a rubber bullet. You know what I mean? Like, and you know what?
It's like I hear what you're saying, Dave. Part of me is like I don't want to get involved. Like as far as black folks, I wouldn't want us to get involved because at the end of the day, when you look at, and this is me being petty. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be transparent. Majority of the Latin community voted for this.
Yeah.
So if you voted for this, then why all of a sudden do you need me to come in and sing some righteousness?
And I know a lot of people who stand on that side of it, and I don't blame those people either. Like I almost feel like there's no wrong answer
Mhm.
for
No,
black
there's not.
folks in this. I feel like there's like if you feel like, because I know some people feel like, well, we protested when we voted against him, when we didn't want him in there, when 80% of black folks voted, that was us protesting against it. You know what I mean? So if they feel
Actually,
like,
90% of us voted against him.
yeah, 90%, yeah,
90% that voted against him combined.
yeah. What pisses me off is why aren't they going to all the other communities asking why aren't they helping? Why us? Mm.
Now, okay, what they need to start with, as I'm looking, 54% of Hispanic men voted for.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Start with your own community first. Before you get to us, you need to check why, after how he treated y'all the first time, separating kids, and because he tried this shit the first time.
Yeah.
This is the thing that pisses me off about it. It's not like they're completely blindsided about what he's doing. He actually fucked y'all over the first time. And as I'm looking on my computer right now, from 2020 to 2024, Hispanic men plus 18, Hispanic women plus 7. So before you come and try to call our community out, you need to check your own first. Now, of course, we just can't completely stand back because we know they're gonna come for us at some point. You know, it was a black woman that they had detained. I think it was in Texas. So we already know where it's coming from. But he showed y'all how he was gonna treat y'all the first time. He told you how he was going to treat you this turn, and still 54% of Hispanic men voted for him.
Mhm.
How's that on us? But we asked for some. I mean, and the thing about it is, they don't want to say it, but look, it was some racism and sexism involved in that. Cause ain't no way he could treat y'all like he treated y'all the first time. Tell y'all he gonna do it again, and you still 54% of Latino men voted for him. But y'all want to call us up. You had Cubans for Trump, Latinos for Trump. All those leaders of those organizations are now backtracking.
Or deported already.
The guy for Cubans for Trump, he's being deported.
Mhm. Damn, you're mute.
So,
Pandora said white Hispanics are racist here in Texas, and they are coveting proximity, and they covet proximity to whiteness. That's very true. But like you
yeah,
said, Quincy, like y'all got a lot of people to talk to before y'all get to us. And I want
yeah.
you to make the point that you made too early when we was talking in chat, man, about how about reparations.
Oh,
Like they don't rock with us when it comes to reparations,
so
Hispanics and
no.
Asians. Give us the numbers on that, and
Um,
why politicians don't really want to talk about giving us reparations.
cause I know like people be like, why Kamala hesitating on reparations? Why Obama hesitating on reparations? The reason why is only 39% of Latinos support reparations for black people.
Mm.
For Asians, it's 33%. For white people, it's 17%. So the only place where reparations is actually popular at is with us. So and these are people we share the Democratic base with.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have politicians that's hesitant about speaking on reparations, think about that 39% of Latinos who doesn't support reparations for black people, that 33% of Asians who don't support reparations, and then only 17% of white people. So think about the people that we actually shared our vote with in the Democratic Party. A lot of them don't back us. They don't want us to have reparations. But, you know, when other communities, as far like the Japanese community, the way how they were treated during World War II, we supported that.
Mhm.
You know, we support other groups. We supported the Native Americans in the 80s to get their reparations down there
Mm-hmm.
in Florida. We supported other groups to get theirs. But when you look at where's our support for us to get there, ours is not there. So, you know, I can't blame folks who don't want to go out there and get their ass whooped for people who they feel don't really give a damn about them. You showed it with your vote, and you showed it with your support on our issues. So I mean, so you don't, like I said before, you call us out, you need to check the people in your just like we talk to Black Trump supporters, and when like okay, this is what you I don't want you hear you complain about why your daughter can't get into a college now.
Yeah.
I don't want because that's what you voted for. You remember? Don't come. Oh well, man, they not gonna let my daughter get into. Yeah, I don't want to hear it now. So just
Yeah.
like I call those out in my community for supporting him, before you get to us, you need to call out the ones that supported that dude.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like I said, from 2020 to 2024, Hispanic men plus 18, Hispanic women plus 7. Black voters, it was even. So they only we stayed pretty much the same. I mean, even white voters, he had a -3.
Yeah.
The only demographic he grew it is Latino voters, because Jewish people supported Kamala 79%.
Hmm.
So how the people that he attacked the most at his rallies is behind the Jews and voted for his opponent? But you want to call us out? Come on, man.
Let's read some of these comments. You're right. I don't understand how you let some ninjas put masks on, roll up on you, and tell you they about to take you and roll up a school, kidnap you. Listen, y'all better start having that thing on you so you defending yourself. I went around on a rant about this earlier with my supervisor. The activist in me knows that it's going to impact Black immigrants the most and us in the long run. The other part is like, fuck that. We've been fighting for 400 years. It don't make sense. Shannon said, you preaching now, Quincy. The U.S. gave reparations to Holocaust survivors. And what's funny is a lot of the Holocaust survivors, because I was watching CNN, the Jewish folks is basically like, no, we got to talk about this anti-Semitism, and they trying to talk about anti-Blackness. That's what I saw the other day. You know what I mean? On Abby Phillips' show. They better stop. They better call to stop Asian hate community. They better call to stop. Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, that's why I said I understand the people who feel like Pandora said, you feel like that's gonna end up affecting Black people if we don't get involved, but also on the other side is like this is what y'all voted for. So I understand all facets of this argument. And I honestly I can't say, well, you wrong if you don't want to help out. You know what I'm saying? Or I can't say, oh, you wrong for wanting to help. I understand like equally both sides. It's just a sad, scary time. Like I heard there was a school downtown where the kids are graduating, and a bunch of the parents found out ICE is outside, so they had to they literally start fleeing in the middle of the graduation.
Look, man, I work. Yeah, I work at a school 70% Latino. So and I love my Latino students. And it's sad that some parents didn't even show up for the graduation because they was afraid that they're gonna try to snatch their kids, because that's what they do. They snatch the kids because they know as a parent, what you gonna do? You gonna go looking for your kid, and that's how they draw the parent in. And
Oh shit, bro.
yeah, yeah. It sounds like we're talking about a whole different country, and it's sad to say. And someone who knew I was a Kamala supporter, who even the day that Trump won, because she's Latino and her husband voted for Trump. Now she's like F Trump, blah blah blah. And I wanted, because of the moment, I didn't say it, but I'm like,
You can walk
isn't
by.
this what y'all voted for? And now y'all concerned.
Yeah.
Like that vote just wasn't for my people. It was for these kids that we also work with, that we love and care about. And it's like, it's crazy. You got, kids coming up to me at the school, or Trump gonna come get me. It's crazy. It's crazy times. And it's like, people be playing with these elections. These goddamn elections have consequences.
Yeah.
And when somebody told us, nigga, I'm gonna be a dictator on day one. Okay, yeah, like, oh, Trump just always talking. No, he don't. He actually does what the say the fuck what he gonna do. That's one thing about Trump. I would say he would, if he say something, he's gonna do it. And people try to rationalize, oh, he just said that. You guys are just fear mongering. Project 2025 really not his plan. Serious? Hell, Kamala told y'all he was gonna send the military on y'all.
Shit, she told they're gonna send the military. She told about the tariffs. She told about the recession he was gonna bring on. She sound like a damn church prophet right now.
Crazy, man.
I see a tariff war. I see.
It's like, I mean, is
Pandora said all on the campaign. He was heavy on the Haitian immigrants, and that's probably what they thought. It was gonna be us nigga immigrants, not that. Not only that, Pandora, he told them it was only gonna be the criminals. He's like, we only gonna take out the criminals, but what they didn't know is he said anybody who was here illegally is a criminal.
That's the part they didn't catch.
That's how he got y'all asses. He said, "Oh,
Yeah.
we only gonna take out the criminals." And he said
Yeah.
right after he got elected, "Well, if
He
you're
said
illegally,
every
you're
immigrant is a criminal.
Every immigrant is a criminal." Nigga, you see they was going up to hitting Home Depot. They raided Home Depot and got all the the little day workers from Home Depot.
Never seen Home Depot
It's
parking lot
man,
so
I
quiet.
can't. I like I said, it's really hard. I feel bad for my students and the kids that I work with and all over the country. But also, like, I see people, I'm like, dude, like, literally, after how he was the first time, y'all actually voted this nigga back in.
Yeah, yeah, that's the craziness. That's the
craziness. It's like a black woman bother y'all so bad that you just and this shit was completely identity politics.
Yeah,
I'm not going with the it was the economic. I mean, this nigga got the worst business record ever. So I don't got killing with this economic shit. But this was pure identity politics. It was how racist, how sexist are you, and what you willing to deal with because you are that racist and sexist.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
It had nothing to do with nothing else.
yeah. Pandora said, "What y'all think about the bromance coming to an end with Elon?" Honestly, I feel like
They back on.
I'm gonna say I feel like it's a bit of political theater.
No, they got back together.
Because he got quiet. Elon got quiet real quick after he was talking about he was going to expose some shit. But then I think he also realized that if you expose some shit, you also gonna be exposing yourself.
Well, I think two things happened. One, he remembered all them federal contracts that his businesses have with the government, and all Trump has to do is cancel them all. And two, nigga, you an immigrant too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So not only he can cut all your contracts, he can send you back to South Africa where you not welcome. You liable to go back to South Africa and get thrown in jail. so I think he realized that. But I thought it was interesting that he told Republicans Trump ain't gonna be here for that much longer.
Yeah.
You see, and you guys still gonna have to deal with me while y'all picking sides.
Yep. Shannon said they voted for him because they thought Kamala was going to uplift the black community. That was a big part of it, Shannon. Especially those other races who was like, it's so crazy. They just like literally don't want us to get shit. You know what I'm saying? Hope it was worth it. Stephanie said, I was just about to say, I think that they might be setting us up again with the false altercation. I think it's something else underhanded going on with this so-called fight. Yeah, I think it was a bit of political theater to get some of the heat off Trump back because there was a bunch of other shit coming down the pipe at the same time. Honestly, we can blame the liberal establishment for not giving us a primary and setting Kamala up for failure in the ninth inning. I agree with that a lot, Pandora, because for first, and this is something people not talk about enough. Biden said he was only going to be a stopgap president. I'm going to be a one-term president. You need, just like we talk about Pelosi and all them other old heads, they get a piece of that power and don't want to let it go.
That's where the mistake was. But if they were the primary Kamala, you would have lost because 93%, that 92% of black women would have been like, wait a minute, if he's stepping down, she should be the VP.
Yeah.
So you would have just completely lost your biggest demographic of support right there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but the mistake was Biden should have actually been mindset should have already been this gonna be one term just to get
Well,
Trump out of
that
there.
was his mindset till it came to it. Because remember, he talked about it all while he was about to get elected. When everybody talking about you too old, he said, "No, I'm fighting for the soul of America. I'm just gonna be a one-term president."
But you know the campaign track that started like about the midterm.
Yeah.
So that's where he should have already began to back off. The midterm is okay. I'm taking a step back. I'm not, to make it clear, I'm not running again. Y'all need to start primarying.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Yeah, he did that all wrong, bro.
That happened, and then them let Eli buy Twitter.
Yeah, because if y'all watch Twitter, Elon literally turned that into a campaign commercial. All of Twitter was a campaign commercial for Donald Trump. And he's like, we're gonna let all the racists back in and let the racists say whatever they want on this platform.
Yeah, you can find common messages. And her group was really good.
Yeah,
with counter and stuff Trump was saying, he suppressed all that shit.
So what do you think the end game is with this National Guard, the Marines? Like what is gonna be the end game with this? Like how long is the ICE raid gonna last? What do y'all think? Because I know they said Stephen Miller, Nosferatu, was saying he want 3,000 people arrested a day. That's his number. He want 3,000 immigrants arrested a day.
So that's a quota, which is against the law. So somebody should file that lawsuit. I think the courts are quiet. I mean, Gavin is doing what he should be doing. Is file lawsuits and get the courts involved. And I think once the courts get involved, that's probably when Trump is going to dial back.
Pandora said, now we find out he got aggressive cancer. He been had it, and I think that's been part of his decline. I think so too. Is that 3,000 nationwide? I don't know if it's nationwide, Shannon, but I know he was talking about specifically in California.
Yeah, I think it was nationwide.
I think it's nationwide.
That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. So that's where we are. But again, even and this is my question almost every time something crazy happens under this administration. Even after this is over, because the effects of this is going to last a very long time. The effects of this administration, this 4 years, is going to have long-lasting effects way past Trump's presidency. We
never recover from the first 4 years.
That's what I'm saying. So what do the Democrats have to do to, one, get back in power and get back in office? And what do they have to do to try to recover some of this? Because this is bad, bro. I think this is the most, somebody said this is the most that Americans have been directly affected by presidential decisions ever.
I think what the Democratic Party need to do is allow people to pick their candidate. If you notice, the Democratic Party is good with like, okay, this is such and such term.
Yep.
The reason Obama, that was supposed to be Hillary's turn. That's why a lot of them was upset at Obama.
Yep.
Because when Obama won in 2008, that was supposed to be Hillary moment and Hillary's turn. That's why there were some issues. You remember, it was some issues between Obama and the Clintons.
Yep.
And that was the people deciding who they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did the same shit. They made the mistake after Obama. The people was leaning towards Bernie,
Yeah.
but Hillary had to have her turn. Hillary had to have her turn. And I think that, Biden was the perfect timing in 2020, but it's like the Democratic Party, especially them old timers, they need to go. They like to tell us who turn it is versus letting us decide who we want.
Yeah.
And that's why even in this election, 90 million people stay home because people in the Democratic Party get turned off for whatever. Because most people are just independent. They just don't want to fuck with the Republican Party.
Yep.
So I think what they need to do is let them young people take over. Let the Jasmine Crockett's. They giving her shit. You know, if that's who people want to lead the party into the next whatever, then let the people choose.
Yeah.
But stop trying to like force Chuck
Gatekeep.
Schumer down our fucking throat. We don't like Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
We tired of hearing, oh, Trump did this. Let me write him a nasty letter. Come on, bro. Fuck up out of here. And the Cory Bookers, the fuck you still reaching across the aisle for, bro?
Yeah.
Nigga, they don't like you. So that's why, if you notice, people are grabbing towards the AOCs. They going towards the Jasmine Crockett's, because those are the people they feel that are fighting for them. Let folks decide who they want to fight for them, not y'all decide for them. So until they learn that lesson, you're gonna have folks that get turned off and still stay home.
Stephanie said, I wish I could remember who it was on video that I saw saying J.D. Vance is the primary target to become the president. It's being said that he's being groomed to take over and fulfill the future goals of Donald Trump and his crew. I think when you said we didn't want Hillary, Pandora said, sure in the fuck didn't. She said, you right, Quincy from Shannon. I wanted Bernie too. Yeah, you're right. They blew it a few times with not giving the people, like the people was literally telling you who they wanted. And they were like, nah, it's Hillary.
Well, because they, so the thing is, folks would have been cool. All right, let Bernie be her VP.
Yeah.
I think she beats Trump.
Yeah, and then they bring Tim Kaine in, whatever the fuck, the most nondescript white dude ever.
They learned in 2020 because folks was like, fuck that. You better make
Pandora said, she said they fucked Bernie over twice.
Yeah, but then in 2020, when folks was like, make Kamala the Biden VP if he wants to win. They did, they won. They did what the people wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, you know, as far as 2028, I mean, you're gonna have to deal with Jackass thinking he can run an extra term.
Yeah. I think it's looking like they trying to prime Gavin Newsom to be the next guy.
Yeah.
He won it, but I think Gavin that Charlie Kirk interview, I think Gavin fucked himself with that. Like, oh, my son is a fan of yours. So nigga, you just told a big part of your voter demographic that your son like a racist.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are you doing? Oh, my son is a big fan of you, blah, blah, blah. To me, as a black man, you literally just told me your son like a racist. So what the hell your son getting up in there, and why your son is comfortable in your household being a fan of a racist?
Yeah.
But in the end, let the people choose who they want. Stop trying to make us pick Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. We tired of them old fuckers because they don't know how to deal with a Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, he want to write nasty emails. And
Pandora said the people of California don't like Gavin like that, do they? I think they did until he went on this "I'm cool with everybody" tour. I think he fucked up, like Quincy said.
We're this is not a reaching across the aisle era.
Yeah.
Either you push your agenda and motherfuckers want to come on this side, then they do it. They don't like it, whatever. But all this, we're gonna reach across the aisle. Trump killed that.
Yeah.
I think Gavin's the best bad choice right now, anyway. From an outspoken leader, he's relatively youthful. He's
Charismatic.
he got charisma, and he typically, when he debates and stuff like that, he goes to facts. Well,
I mean, he's by
77%.
far one of the best debaters. I mean, he'd tear Trump
Oh.
ass up.
Isaac said, "Can I pop in and talk about the military side?" Hell yeah, I'm about to send you a link, Isaac. I definitely want to hear that.
And also, before we break, man, I wouldn't mind discussing a bit about the Rockland County voting scandal and shit.
Oh yeah, talk about that. I want to. Do anybody know the dude's original? Because I've been trying to find him because I want to interview him. Trying to find the dude's original social media because D.L. Hughley don't never get nobody credit when he reposts that shit. So
yeah, but they've taken it up in court now. You know what I'm saying? They're
oh, they did?
Yeah, because you know, they had the preliminary hearing to see if there was enough facts to move forward with the case, and they've allowed the case to move forward. That was this week.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I mean, because those numbers were too staggering. Those numbers was too crazy. I know you got to bounce, Mars. I know we got you up past your bedtime, but man, we want to thank you for joining us, man. We missed you, man. It's good having you back. Even if you come on for like a little bit, like you did today, man, you got to come back, man. We miss your voice.
Miss y'all as well.
I know you got your New York time and all that. So yeah, man, do your thizzle, man. Go ahead and sign off for the people. Your fans missed you. They always asking where Mars at. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all stay safe.
Stephanie said, "Vern, if you don't swallow your food before you start talking."
I've been listening in silence for motherfucking an hour and a half and shit.
Stephanie be on your ass, nigga.
Y'all niggas about to hang up in a minute, so I'm gonna spit all over my phone and get some shit out.
All right, we got Isaac Square in the building, y'all. This is my main man, 100 Grand. He's from the military side. He's actually a pilot. He does some great things. Trying to teach young boys and young girls, young black boys and black girls, how to get into being a pilot. That's something I'll let him talk about as well too. But yo, Isaac, you said you want to hop on and talk about the military side of things.
Right. All right. So just to let everyone know a little bit about myself. I am a officer in the United States Army Reserves, and it's sad that things have come to where they are now. I know everybody feels some way about the military, being out. First thing I'm going to say is, the soldiers that are out there in the streets, for the most part, they do not want to be out there. They are following orders. Now, like I said, I'm a part-timer, so majority of the time I'm a civilian. But although I'm a civilian, I'm still held to the orders of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, because as an enlisted person or as an officer, I swear my oath to the Constitution of the United States of America. Now, we can go a little bit deeper and look into, the Declaration of Independence, that, we're all created and, that we're all created equal. And it says, even in the Constitution itself, that's where realistically the president is supposed to, draw his power. And although, I don't like, what's being done, the president is well within his right to do so.
That's what I heard. I heard he's not doing anything yet that's unconstitutional.
It's not unconstitutional, but it's also not a good look. And because, this is the California Army National Guard, he has circumvented the governor, which he is well within his right to do so. However, previously, normally he would go through the governor. The last time something like this has happened, it's been well over 60 years.
Yeah, it was 1965 in Alabama.
Thank you very much. So kind of like with that being said, their role is to protect federal property. They are not to engage in law enforcement activities. Now, what they're supposed to protect are strictly federal buildings. which are owned by the United States government. Now, that would be anywhere you go out into the world, wherever there is, say, U.S. property, i.e., a consulate. Who do you have that's standing outside those gates? That's going to be U.S. Marines. So even the president, no matter how you feel about him, that is his right. However, what this does is it erodes the trust that we as civilians have with the military. And not everyone is going to look and really reflect on why are these soldiers here? What is it that they're doing? If anything, there's Isaac the civilian. We've all grown up in whether it's South Central, Inglewood, Compton. We don't like occupying forces. We feel some kind of way about it. So it erodes whatever trust. And at the end of the day, these citizen soldiers, these are your neighbors. These are your friends. They don't want to be out there in front of, their friends and family. And, I pray that nothing goes, sideways. Because if it does, it's just going to be bad.
How and I could hear the emotion in your voice, Isaac.
Yeah.
About what's going on. So if you can give me a peek into you as someone in a uniform, how does this actually make you feel? Not only as a officer, but as a black man, how does seeing this make you feel? Because I can really hear it.
Just kind of, growing up, here in South Central Los Angeles, it's kind of a love-hate relationship, say with LAPD or LA County Sheriff, because one way or another, they have fucked with all of us.
Right.
And, and as you grow up and being in the military, yes, a lot of my soldiers, they are law enforcement. So some of them in my unit specifically, I wouldn't say that they're complicit, but they are aware of the complexities of being minorities, say within law enforcement itself. Just being a black man, in this country, we've broken a lot of the stereotypes, when people think about us, as black men. I think about, or the saying, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
And, you, Quincy, the people we went to high school with, think about the black excellence that came from Washington Prep. And I'm proud to say, yeah, we grew up in the hood. We didn't have all the resources that a lot of people have, but here we are. We're not surviving, we're thriving. And at the end of the day, I want the other people that look like you and me to do the same. Everybody talks about, we need to do better for ourselves. Well, hey, like you said, I'm out there in my community. If you reach one, you teach one, reach two, reach a few. I know I'm doing my part. I know you're doing your part. I know everybody on this panel is doing their part. But I'm conflicted. Being a reservist, there was a period of time I did not wear the uniform because of the current administration that's in. I saw this coming. I wanted no parts of it. And lo and behold, this is what the American people voted for. And now I'm stuck in this mess for another year. And once again, I want no parts of this administration. My time, it's coming up here in about another 8 months. So I'm looking forward to basically kind of disappearing, and I'll see what happens in another 3 or 4 years. Once the country.
So I want to go back to what you were saying too, Isaac, about a lot of the and you're not the first person in the military that I've heard say this. A lot of people out there are following orders, don't want to be out there. They, for lack of a better term right now, but they're boots on the ground and knowing they feel like I'm following my orders, but I also feel like this is morally against my, my moral compass. And I saw, I think on La Cienega, like off of Imperial La Cienega, there's a federal building. And I drove by yesterday and I saw all kind of National Guards up there with their guns out. And what's crazy about it, when I drove, I said, this don't feel like America, bro.
Right. And like I mentioned before, this is going to break the trust between the American people and the U.S. military. Oh my gosh, it's yeah, people are following the orders, but then a lot of what I'm seeing amongst my peers, and like as you grow older, especially being in the military, when I joined at 17 versus where I'm at now at 42, my thought process, has changed.
Of course.
Some things I used to be, say, more conservative on. Some things I'm more liberal on. But then when I think about the oath that I swear, when I wear this uniform, what is it that it's really saying? And unfortunately, a lot of people in the military, to including, I hate to say it, generals all the way down to the lowest private, do not really take the time to reflect on, what it is that we swear an oath to. Now, when the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution was written, we know it wasn't meant for people that look like you and me.
Right.
But also at the same time, it's a living document, and it says all persons, you know, are created equal. It didn't specify which country you came from. Once you step foot onto U.S. soil, you are protected by the Constitution. So all these people don't care where they came from. Once you step foot into the U.S., you are allowed your due process. And this is what is being circumvented. And this is where everything, this is the crux of the matter, is that this is being circumvented. And it's like I had to, let internally, I, I wouldn't want to go out there. I wouldn't want to give these orders, to my soldiers and put
Yeah.
them in potential harm's way over, some political BS. And being a US soldier, at no point in time, other than say natural disasters, do I want to see the military out there being an occupying force, because we know what we're capable of. And to bring in Marines, their job is to fuck shit up. And they do it really well. So
Exactly.
you're going to take the baddest fighting force in the world, and you're going to put them out here in the streets of LA. And I can promise you, some of the Marines, where they're coming out from 29 Palms, where do you think they're from? They are from here. We all know the little Latino homie, hey, I'm going to go to the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
That individual is going to feel some kind of way.
I was just looking at a statistic that says over 45,000 of our military are immigrants. So a lot of them are standing out there conflicted. And being someone who used to be a former police officer, I'm not gonna lie, I dread the day that I have to stand on the skirmish line on the opposite side of a riot against my own people. I thank God in my 6 years of law enforcement, I was never faced with that. But it was a day that I thought about, that I played in my mind over and over again. And I know that a lot of those Latinos who are heavily recruited into the military and law enforcement are standing out there very conflicted. And I just feel for them, because I know a lot of them, they're recruited from that area, Boyle Heights. Like that's like one of the main places they go and recruit from, in the high schools over there and things like that, because
Yep.
that's how, and they are immigrants. So I know a lot of them are like fucking going through it,
Yeah.
because I only like dreaded it, but now they are experiencing it. So I can only imagine.
Yeah. Let's see what else. What other questions do you might have for me, Dame?
Hold on, I'll read a couple comments and I'll
Okay.
get back to you. Haynes said, maturity for me is not to look at you with hatred. I have plenty of bad experiences, but as I got older, I teach my kids differently. You are still a black man in America. We don't have the luxury of being average. Stephanie said, bless you, Isaac. I hear the anger and disgust in your voice. Yeah, I really hear the you
The
being torn.
disappointment.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
disappointment, you being torn, you feeling like I'm getting chills. I feel all the feelings that you are feeling right now. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I,
And
And
I, I,
then
I I have a
and it's
question.
like it's like I see the stuff online, and I see people that they wear the uniform, and that's probably what's more frustrating than anything else. Is like I said, when I put on the uniform, it means something completely different, to other people, and you would think, okay, the U.S. military, it's been one of the greatest social experiments. It's like you can take somebody from South Central, LA to rural West Virginia, and you know what? We're going to train you, treat you all the same, give you all the same accommodations, and you all equally suck. But somewhere, these people, it's like they don't see or look at themselves or the people that they serve with as equals, or they don't really, reflect on, why is it that you are a uniform? What is it that you're doing? I mean, hey, let's just be honest. Some people, hey, just join for the benefits, get in, get out, do what the military does to you. And I tell people, if you're looking to join the military, I'm going to give it to you real. Pimp them the way they're going to pimp you. Because I know for myself, it worked out for me.
right.
I don't owe anything for college, for my flight training. You think about some of our classmates that are still, dealing with student loans. So it's been a blessing for me. And in a few years, when I retire, okay, I'll collect my little coins, but that's not the case for everybody.
Damn, man. And I feel like, and I'm not saying you're here to speak for a lot of soldiers, but I feel like your sentiment is probably being held by a lot of people who, like you, grew up in this neighborhood, grew up with blacks and Latinos in your life, and see what is going on. Because I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to hear from a military aspect. How do y'all feel about him circumventing the governor and feeling like there's like a bit of overreach? Because like you said, even though he's well within his right, it's not a good look. It may not be the right thing to do. And also you have somebody in charge of the military who doesn't have a military mindset, right? With Pete Hegseth. So, so
um,
yeah, give me
it's
your
like,
thoughts
don't
on
get
that.
me. All right. So first off, fuck that ass clown. Um, so Pete Hexet, he was military. He was an officer, but he was beyond mediocre, and
Mm,
you can see that, you know. And the way I look at it, and the way Obama said it, if I did any of that stuff, we know he would get crucified.
Oh, he'll be in prison.
He'd be under the prison
Obama will be in federal prison somewhere.
in
No
space
doubt.
somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's
I want to ask
it.
something.
Wait, well, okay. So I thought about my point. All right, I'm not sure if you guys remember, what all the big hoopla was about, say Jane Fonda going to Vietnam, right?
yeah.
So she, as a young lady, saw a lot more combat action than the ass clown, in the presidential office right now. So, it's kind of funny. But then the sentiment as a military is, oh, fuck Jane Fonda, she's a traitor, to the U.S. She was young and naive. And, you think about Trump, when he was that age, you know, he is a draft dodger. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And the fact that people that I know that are retired from the military, in the military, it's like you have all these convictions, but you voted this guy in.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a code of conduct. We will not lie, steal, cheat, nor tolerate among us anyone who does. Service before self, excellence in all we do. Trump does not check off any of those boxes. And this is who you chose to swear in to the highest office in the world. So there is something wrong, not only with you mentally, but your moral compass is broken.
I'm gonna read this comment from Steph. She said, and it's a different kind of beast when you're conflicted about something your employer is doing, and you can say, I'm not going to be a part of it and walk away. But it's different when your employer is the US government and you're under legal contract and face severe consequences if you try and do something like that. It really sucks that it pretty much stripped you from your own rights. Haynes said, was it Nixon? I don't remember what this is in regard to, Haynes.
He probably talking about the last president
Oh,
that sent the National Guard. No, it was Alabama's Governor George Wallace, who was a bigot. He
No, what now is a bigot now?
is a bigot. Um, had
He sent the troops in.
He pretty much put the police on the protesters. So LBJ sent in the National Guards to protect the protesters in Alabama, and that was 1965. Like I don't think like so what's supposed to happen is first law enforcement and I saw although I hate Jim McDonald with all my heart,
I like you that you're bringing this up.
What they're supposed to do is first LAPD try to handle it. Then they send mutual aid. What mutual aid is, they will call departments, surrounding departments, to send other police officers in to assist with a crowd of riot. Once that doesn't work, then they contact the governor, and then the governor will ask the president to send in the National Guard. LAPD said they was handling it without mutual aid.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even need like mutual aid. So that means they didn't even need the help of surrounding police departments to come in there and assist them with the crowd. So this was purely Trump on some egotistical bullshit to send in the military, because in the end, what this is about, he do not like protesters, which is a constitutional right. He do not like protesters. And he don't decipher for people who's out there rioting, causing havoc, and from people who's protesting. I mean, we finna have a military parade on Saturday.
Yeah.
That's
For his
very
birthday.
Russian, North Korea.
For his birthday.
For his birthday. And the first thing he said, it better not be no protesters. Or I'm putting our military on them and they would have hell to pay. And like I just said, 77 million people voted for this.
It's like I'm glad you brought that point up because like I said, there's a chain of command, and like I said, there are procedures in place. And like I said, he just escalated this thing unnecessarily. Hell, LAPD themselves said they did not need the help. And this is when things got out of hand. And how basically everyone outside of California, LA's, burning to hell, it's we know what's up out here. And of course, we know the media just wants to show, the destruction that's going on. And at the end of the day, it's not us that are out there. We know who's out there agitating things.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. This is a good comment from Stephanie, and I agree, Steph. She said it had a lot to do with the bone he has to pick with Newsom, and the fact that he said anyone who protests against anything that he does or says will have repercussions. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, for some reason, Newsom and Obama strikes insecurity in him like no other. I don't know what it is about those two, but it seems like he try to do wherever he can. If you bring their name up, if they say anything, it's just very triggering for him.
I think it's because they're intellectuals, man.
With those two men right there.
What you say, V-Ray? You think what?
I think it because they're intellectuals and they have a charisma about them. You know what I mean? That he can't be compared side by side with, and not in a positive way. So yeah, I think it's like when the cute girl comes in, the ugly girl gets mad and shit. Hey, why that bitch come in? What she got on and shit?
Yeah. I mean, knowing Trump, that's exactly what it is.
He's that
'Cause he
petty.
ain't that
He's
deep.
that
He's
petty.
very superficial surface. So
Right. And that's what I'm really getting at is that just how superficial and petty he is. All this shit is surface shit. It, he doesn't want to be in a position to be called on the times that he doesn't tell the truth and shit like that. You see how pissed he gets in the press conferences if somebody like challenges something that he said in the past and shit, something that was clearly not factual and shit. You tell them that they're a horrible writer and that's why their paper's going back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be accountable and he doesn't want to be compared to something that's righteous or looks the opposite of him.
Yeah.
I mean,
In my humble opinion.
his hypocrisy is like no other. He says that he's sending in the National Guard to protect federal agents and law enforcement, and this is somebody that will attack federal agents and police officers. And of course he got called out on that, and he banned that media member. That person
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
never see the damn White
A couple
House
of them people haven't been back to the press pool.
Yeah. And like you said, because everybody's saying it, like if this was truly about protecting federal officers, why didn't you deploy the National Guard during January 6th? Or even if you really felt that way, if you really truly felt that way, why did you then pardon them after?
Yeah.
And then, a lot of people been showing all the white riots that no National Guard, after the Eagles game, after the Knicks playoff, no National Guard was deployed. It was much more chaos, much more damage. Like I said, it's crazy to watch. Being in LA, being here and watching like national media be like,
Yeah.
you would think it was like the Rodney King riots, the way they talking about it on the news. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Stephanie said the Republicans are trying hard to hell to get California. It ain't the Republicans even. Donald Trump wants California because I think what a lot of people don't understand too is Donald Trump wants the access that California has. He wants these ports. He wants because a lot of the import and exports come over here. We got a lot of the ports where a lot of the goods come in. He feel like Gavin has too much control, and he know he can't do too much with Gavin. Just like Gavin said, he like they talking about they gonna stop federal funding. He like we pay out more taxes than
Yeah.
federal funding and receive in. He said so do it. We just want to pay the taxes, and we'll pay everything out of that. Like, and I think that's pissing him off. That like everything he tries to do, Gavin just like I'm not scared of you. Then come arrest me, come get me then. And
Yeah.
it's like he's backfiring because like the more and more he does to try to personally hurt Gavin, he's actually making Gavin look like a hero in his own way.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's setting them up, man. Like we in some crazy times. Like I said, watching officers walk around the hood, with ARs and uniforms, and I was driving on the freeway and seeing all the military trucks driving by me. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And ICE is out here wilding. Like I think ICE feel like they just got the green light to do whatever the
Dog,
fuck
ICE
they
is out of
want.
They do.
control. They are
It's
out of
not even
control.
clear that they're officially government agents.
And the funny thing about ICE being out there, a lot of the white guys and the Latino officers, especially the Latino officers, man, that's their family out there arrested.
Yeah.
In my travels being a pilot, hey, we on the border, you got ICE and, you'll run into them from time to time, or the people, coming from, say, Tijuana or from Juarez. Like, yeah, my cousin, he's an ICE agent. It's like, man, that's their family that they're arresting. But, it's the fact that they are here legally and, they have the privilege of being a U.S. citizen. They don't want, say, undocumented, people here, they did it the right way. But, at the end of the day, it's like they're human beings, right? And people aren't immigrating, to the US for no reason. And the way I tell people is, what is so bad in somebody's home country that they will put themselves in harm's way just to give, not only themselves, but their family an opportunity just to live, just to get by. And at the end of the day, oh, Mexico, it's bad. Mexico is beautiful. They have wonderful people. But and then they'll mention the cartels. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, well, why do the cartels exist? To make drugs and make money. All right, let's talk business 101. What is it that the cartels are doing? They're selling drugs. Okay, so who's buying these drugs? Drug users. Well, if you have the demand here in the U.S., somebody's going to supply it. Where there's a supply, or where there's a demand, somebody has to supply it.
Yeah.
And that's why, parts of Mexico is dangerous. And, it only, backfills, from Mexico. And then, we can keep working our way further down south. We keep hearing these, radio ads, MS-13 gang member. Well, why the hell do you think MS-13 exists? You took kids that were born and raised here in LA, the only place that they knew, come up, in a gang infested environment, and they took that back to El Salvador and took it to a whole other level. And you know what? Some of the people came back with that mentality. So this, this stuff that's all manufactured here in the US.
Yeah.
Wherever, and like I said, Isaac is 17 versus 42. My eyes are a lot more open. So if you really think about, the U.S., our history, all the conflicts that we've been involved in, wherever we go, we don't leave. We have our hands in incredibly way too many people's business.
Uh-huh. And Trump wants to make it even more of that. With some of these authoritarian moves. So, hey, man, Isaac, I really want to thank you for coming on. We needed that, that perspective, man, like that military perspective. I did want to know what a lot of those guys, because I heard some guys were refusing to go out on their orders. I know some guys have gotten in trouble because they were like, I'm not doing it.
And, I would say they did the right thing. And that is well within, their right to do so under, the Uniform Code of Military Justice. They know what potential harm can come to them. Now, we are supposed to follow all legal orders.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if, myself as a commander, and I'm telling, my soldiers, in front of this building, beat these people senseless, and they obey those orders, not only are they going to be in trouble, obviously I would, but you would hope that there's somebody that's going to stand up and do the right thing, and bless those people that are doing. And if we're really being honest, a lot of people, we don't know what we can and what we can't do, and you don't want to go out there and just follow orders blindly, but we're never really taught or trained what is a lawful and legal order.
Uh-huh.
People don't you don't really have to dig too deep, say where you're on someone else's land. You know what the rules of engagements are. You do not fire until fired upon. That's the brass tacks rule of engagement when you go overseas. Obviously, it's a whole other ball game when you have your weapon and you're looking at U.S. and American citizens.
Yeah. Whew, this is deep, man. I never thought we'd be in these kind of times. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate. It's sad. And like I said, I feel for those military people out there who feel like you, Isaac, who feel like the Constitution is being a bit trampled on, for some personal vendetta.
That's an understatement. It's being used as toilet paper right now.
Hey, I have a question for you, Isaac. With appearing on the show today, do you see yourself at risk at all of any repercussions for, coming on and saying the things that you said in the capacity you work in now?
I'm not worried. No.
No?
No. And, you know, at the end of the day, okay, I'm a U.S. citizen, but, although I'm a part-timer, I know I'm still held to Uniform Code of Military Justice. I kind of know what I can, what I can't say. Now, worst case, this gets sent to my supervisor. We'll have a talk.
That's what I'm. Yeah, that's what
But
I'm getting at.
and that's as far as I would kind of see things. And my chain of command, they're kind of no nonsense and very level-headed people. And I can speak with confidence that it's kind of how my soldiers feel, because the majority of them are law enforcement. So when we're together, we do talk about this stuff, but that's amongst ourselves.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the
I was
way I
curious.
feel, I'm not gonna post anything, on Facebook. Not that I post much, but I do have these conversations. Hey guys, how do you feel about this? So I do feel some way. I know other people in uniform feel some kind of way.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man.
Stephanie said, "Thanks, Isaac. Thank you for your service, and I thank you for your service, Isaac. Man,
Yeah. Yeah, as well.
snitches get stitches on here. I wish someone would go back and tell Isaac too. Before we get out here, man, tell them about the work that you do when it comes to like trying
I like
to,
it. Tell
get some of.
Stephanie to hang out because I'm gonna have some soup here in a minute.
Tell us
Okay.
about some of the
Get
work
all my
that you're doing
eating
before we
noises
get
in.
out of here.
Okay.
Oh,
So, like you mentioned, I am a airline pilot. And professionally, I've been flying since 2015, so almost 10 years. But really, I started all the way back in 2002 when I'm all of 19 with my little money I had saved up. Um, but, when you think about, where we grew up and, the environment that we came up in, basically, in 80s and 90s, as a kid, I had a dream. You see a picture of Guillaume Buford, the first black astronaut, and then 1986, what I think is the greatest movie of all time came out, Top Gun, right? But then you saw that low budget, Iron Eagle that came out, and I saw um, Louis Gossett Jr.
Lou Gossett,
Like, oh,
right?
it's like, oh shit, he looks like me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what it was. And it's like I say the aviation gods kind of put me where I need to be and not where I want to be, because it's kind of like little nuggets. They were always around me, right? So whether that's me and my childhood best friend, building airplanes out of Legos, and just my fascination with the military, because all my uncles were in, and I got to go to military bases. So, as a kid, I kept my nose clean, got the best grades I could. But come, junior year of high school, it's like, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know what path to follow. And I'm not sure if you remember, Mr. Smith from Washington, he was the one that clued me in on, some of the schools I needed to be looking at. And lo and behold, man, I got into all those schools that I wanted to go to, right? But then the one I really wanted to go to is I go visit, and, I've been accepted. But when you start hearing, white kids, oh, I took AP calculus this, AP physics that, or already got my pilot's license, you start, feeling kind of small. And not that I was a bad student or anything, I just needed to figure out, a different way of going about this. So that's why, I snuck off. I saw a Marine recruiter and an Air Force recruiter. I already knew I was going to join the Air Force. So, I got the paperwork started, with that guy. And I was only 17 at the time. So I had to get mom and dad to sign off on that. And I don't know if you ever had a chance to meet my dad. That was a hard sell. And ultimately, like my dad, he was, pretty pissed that, I didn't go off to college, because as a dad, he wants what's best for me. And he was mad at me, for a little bit. But, once he saw, that I was committed to, the plan I had, go join the military, learn a craft. I wanted to go to college and, start flying. And that's exactly what I did. I went in, I saved my money, I took my flight lessons, I started going to college, I wound up getting a full ride scholarship once I got out. And I'm still in college, and I want to try to become this fighter pilot. But you know what? I wasn't selected for that. And you know what? I was just one yes away from that happening. So it's not for lack of effort. So I went back into the Air Force and literally got laid off. So it's like, man, now I'm trying to figure out what to do next. So I could keep taking my flight lessons and stuff. And eventually, I would get to the point to where I get my commercial rating, and now, I can fly and get paid. And my first job was as an aerial imaging pilot, so flying the little airplanes around. And then my next one would be at a regional carrier, which is a smaller jet, smaller than what Southwest flies. Lately, I've been flying cargo, right? But what I do now to say help our community is I'm a member of the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals, OBAP. We're in our 49th year, and this is the organization that was founded 49 years ago by 13 Black pilots. They got together in Chicago 49 years ago, basically to get together, fellowship, and try to figure out, how they can all navigate a racist institution, which I want to say was, a racist institution. But things are changing, in the right direction. But there are a lot of opinions that are still prevalent, from even 50 years ago.
Well, I'm sure you've heard the old DEI adage of, if I see a black pilot, I hope he's qualified.
So we can talk about that maybe some other day, because I have some opinions and I've shut a lot of people up. But being a part of this organization the last 15 years, we are a workforce development organization, meaning that we are looking to develop the talent that wants to come into the aviation industry, whether you want to be a pilot, flight attendant, mechanic, you want to be airport firefighter, or police officer, you want to be an avionics tech, you want to be an airport groundkeeper, you want to be an airport, any and everything that you can think of, somehow or another can be tied into the aviation industry. So we're out there, exposing kids to those different career fields that are out there. And in doing so, one of the programs that I'm in charge of is our Los Angeles Aerospace Career Education Academy. This is my third year running it, and it's a week-long program where we introduce kids to different, career fields within the aviation industry. So we do field trips to LAX. We were supposed to be going to the Army base in Los Alamitos, but can you guess why that just got canceled earlier today?
Wow.
So now we're scrambling. So we do a tour Long Beach Airport, where we go to Relativity rockets. Everybody's familiar with SpaceX, and so Relativity, they do the same thing. But the cool thing about this place is they're the only manufacturer of 3D rockets. So like you see, people making little pieces. No, they make real rockets that go into space, to show them the engineering side of things.
Right.
Of course, like I said, we were supposed to go to the base out in Los Alamitos, show kids, the military side of things. For some, it's an option. Whether you want to do, say, 4 years or you want to do, 20 years.
So let me ask you this, Isaac. If somebody wants to get in touch with you about this program, let the people know how they can get in touch with you. If they want to get their kids involved in this, please let them know.
Okay, let me see. Where can I put in the chat? Let's see.
Yeah, you can drop it in the chat.
This is our website. And I'm not sure if you can see that, if you want any information, but specifically for me, if you would like to reach out and email me, this is my email. Now, I would say I am somebody's boyfriend. I have kids of my own. So if I don't respond to you right away, I have a life as well. And we are an all volunteer organization.
All right, so I'm dropping in the chat. Oh, damn, we lost him. I'm dropping in the chat how you can get in touch with him.
Sounds like you might be a good topic for Positive Black.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I think that would be great. You should reach out to him, hit him for Positive Black.
Yeah, I'll grab his information.
Yeah. Let me try to get the okay. Did it pop up? The organization pop up? Yeah, there we go. All right, well, shit, man. This was a great show. Unexpected. You know, Isaac Square joining us, giving us the military side. That was deep, bro. That was deep.
Yeah,
that was deep. But man, thank y'all for coming on. Another great Wild Thoughts show. Appreciate everybody in the comments. As always, keeping the show going, keeping it popping. Thank y'all, man, and we'll see y'all next week. Hopefully it don't be too much crazier next week. June 25th, Wild Bunch having our karaoke night. If y'all know somebody having a birthday party and want to throw a birthday party with us, let us know. We got birthday specials where you can get a guest list for your people, and we can get you a little seated section, you know, get you like 4 seats for you and your people, but your guest list can go up to like 15 people. So hit us up, you know, like you want to come out and party with us, June 25th at the Dragonfly. Of course, you can check it on all Wild Bunch social media, my social media, V-Ray social media. You'll see it popped up. I'll post it right after this. Yeah, come join us. We try to talk about that next week, Steph. Silento got 30 years. He got 30 years in jail. We're gonna talk about that next week, Steph. Isaac, we was just wrapping up. I was just thanking everybody for coming on the show. Thank you, man. We got your information in there. We're gonna let people know, and if there's anything you ever need from us, if you ever want us to just spread the word or talk about something on the show, please don't hesitate to hit me up, and I'll make sure we make it a topic on our show. V-Ray has a magazine, but it's more than a magazine. Like he has it's like a magazine vlog. I don't even know what you call it, like an activist socialist experiment thing called Positive Black. He said he wants to talk to you about that, so I'm gonna get you guys together.
Yeah,
okay.
Connect up. So I'm gonna grab your
feel free to give him my number, and we can talk and chop it up.
Yeah, man. So, hey, man, it's always good to have black men on here, man, talking about some real things, man. I really, really, really appreciate y'all and all the black women who always be backing us and on our ass, making sure we do right. I.e. Stephanie and Shannon. We appreciate y'all. We thank y'all. And we'll see y'all next week. We out of here.
Yeah.
Stop the world, let me off. I don't like this destination.
I like a transfer to the express line. I gotta get off.
Electric slide into the devil doors of life. Things are changing and it ain't the way I like. On the replay, wish I could get a replay. Don't mean to hold ya, but I wanna do over. Gather the ship, shoot me a text and let me know when it is time.
I wanna get off. I wanna get off.
1 star, would not recommend an eagle far from here.
I wanna get off. I wanna get off.
Stop the world. A music podcast for the culture. Wild, wild thoughts.